Revealed. Abandoned at the altar, she discovered an incredible love with his billionaire brother. The sun hung low in the summer sky, shimmering over Maplewood's quaint streets as Sarah Green stood in her wedding gown, feeling utterly lost. The day had been perfect until Ryan, with his golden boy charm, vanished amid gasps and whispers. It was supposed to be the happiest moment of her life, and instead it felt like a cruel joke. As townsfolk gossiped and pointed, Sarah's heart twisted painfully. She could almost hear their whispers. How could he leave her? What a shame. The humiliation was a weight on her chest, squeezing tighter with every pitiful glance she received. But in that moment, a tiny flicker of resilience sparked within her. Her family had always taught her the value of love, but this hurt in ways she never imagined could exist. Her best friend, Laura, rushed to her side, ready to shoulder the burden of her shattered dreams. "Let us get you out of this dress and into something comfortable," she said, her eyes moist but determined. At the diner that had been Sarah's haven, Laura and the rest of their close-knit group rallied around her, baking pies, brewing coffee, and lifting spirits. The scent of warm cinnamon wrapped around Sarah like a hug. Perhaps life could still be sweet with the right people by her side. In the heart of this storm stood Jake, Ryan's older brother, fresh from the city's high-stakes boardrooms. He exuded an energy that felt both foreign and infuriating to Sarah. Wealthy, powerful, and everything she despised. But the pressure of family expectations had left Jake yearning for something more, something real. Their paths intertwined in ways that set the stage for a tumultuous connection. Tension built with every interaction, sharp words dancing between them like a double-edged sword. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With each exchange, Sarah started to uncover the man behind the suit. Jake's passion for authenticity became infectious, and she began to see glimpses of shared values beneath their vastly different lives. The resentment that once held her heart captive slowly began to melt away, replaced with an unexpected curiosity about him. Just as Sarah dared to imagine a future free from Ryan's shadow, the town buzzed with chatter about the waitress with the billionaire. Everyone had opinions, their disapproval echoing in her ears like a sour note at an otherwise beautiful concert. Could she really build a love with someone so far removed from her world without losing her sense of self? The fear loomed large, creating a chasm that felt impossible to bridge. The annual Maplewood Festival promised to be the pinnacle of the summer, but it also brought Ryan back into the fold, stirring up old emotions. As the vibrant lights sparkled overhead, Sarah's heart raced with uncertainty. With the weight of the town's scrutiny on her shoulders, would she choose to explore what was blossoming between her and Jake? Or would that also be lost to the past? Just like her wedding day? The air crackled with possibilities as a choice loomed closer than ever before, leaving Sarah suspended between heartache and a burgeoning hope for a new tomorrow. The day of the Maplewood Festival arrived like a vibrant burst of colors, drawing the townsfolk out in a celebratory spirit. Laughter blended with the sweet aroma of cotton candy and caramelized nuts, wrapping around Sarah like a comforting blanket. Yet beneath this joyful exterior, her heart thudded loudly with unease. As Sarah stepped into the festival, the swirling lights twinkled against the twilight sky, but her mind was elsewhere. She felt Jake's gaze even before she saw him. There he was, leaning against a booth selling handmade crafts, his smile as bright as the twinkling lights surrounding them. His presence tugged at her heart in a way she hadn't expected. But looming above them was Ryan, the specter of what could have been, just as real as the laughter and the music. "Sarah," Laura called out, breaking through her troubled thoughts. With a warm arm around her shoulder, Laura beamed with encouragement. "You've got to let loose tonight. It's your night. You deserve to have fun." As they made their way through the crowd, Sarah's heart ached. Fun felt like a distant memory, but as Laura spun her toward the dancers, something sparked within her. Maybe she could weave her pain into something beautiful, something new. Then, like fate intervening, Jake appeared beside them, effortlessly fitting into the scene. Need a partner? He laughed, eyes dancing with sincerity. Sarah hesitated. She could feel the buzz of the townspeople, their whispers like 1,000 stings against her skin. But in Jake's presence, the rest of the world faded. Sure, she finally replied, her voice a breathless whisper. As they twirled together, those whispers transformed into soft murmurs of approval. Jake's movements were confident yet gentle, and for the first time since her abandonment, Sarah felt light. They danced beneath a canopy of stars, every swirl bringing her closer to a truth she was too frightened to acknowledge. For just a moment she forgot. She forgot about Ryan, about judgment, about every burden she carried. It was just Sarah and Jake, their laughter blending with the music, their eyes locking in understanding. Those brief minutes felt like freedom, a promise of something new. But as the music slowed, the festival's undercurrent pulled her back to reality. The weight of their surroundings crashed back in. The alight path they had walked shifted into the shadows of possibility, looming uncertainty. Could she truly let herself feel vulnerable again? Suddenly, the crowd parted, and Ryan stepped forward, his presence unmistakable and undeniable. He looked as polished as ever, confidence radiating from him, but something in his eyes didn't seem right. Sarah, he said, voice steady but tinged with an unexpected urgency. Can we talk? The world grew quiet around them. The laughter and music faded, leaving only the pounding of her heart and the memories rushing back. Sarah's breath quickened, torn between the promise of connection in Jake's eyes and the weight of unresolved feelings for Ryan. Jake's fingers brushed against hers, grounding her in the moment, but uncertainty clawed at her heart. Would she choose the familiar yet painful path or the unknown, where her heart had just begun to grow? As she turned her gaze between the two men, the tension hung thick in the air. Was this the moment that would reshape her future? The question hung like a spell, crackling with intensity. In that delicate instant, Sarah realized she was at a crossroads, and the choice before her could change everything. But what did she truly want? Would she find the courage to grasp happiness, or would the past pull her back into its dark embrace? Sarah's heart raced as she stood at that pivotal moment. Ryan's plea melted away the joy of the festival, shifting the music from festive to somber in her ears. She could feel Jake's warmth beside her, his breath light and reassuring. Yet Ryan pulled at something deep within her. Can you give me a moment? She whispered to Jake, and he nodded, softly stepping back. The distance felt both necessary and painful. She could see the concern etched on his face, but the pull of her past was growing stronger. Sarah, please, Ryan prompted, his voice laced with a mix of urgency and vulnerability. He reached for her hand, but she instinctively took a step back. The space between them wasn't just physical. It was filled with memories, regrets, and unsaid words. What do you want, Ryan? She struggled to keep her voice steady. Her heart thundered beneath the festive cheer that now felt like mockery. I want to explain everything. Can we go somewhere private? His gaze bore into hers, and for a fleeting second, that familiar warmth flickered to life. I don't know if I can handle this right now, she admitted, feeling torn. She glanced at Jake, who stood a few yards away, his hands shoved into his pockets, anxiety stitched into his brow. The sight of him stirred a deep yearning in her heart, a yearning for honesty, for connection. Just give me a chance, Ryan urged, desperation creeping into his tone. I messed up, Sarah. I never wanted to hurt you. Hurt. The word echoed in her mind as she revisited the empty days that had followed the breakup, the void Ryan had left behind. But over those weeks, Jake had started to fill that space with laughter, kindness, and hope. Fine, she finally replied, her voice trembling slightly. Let us talk. She led Ryan away from the crowd, the lights of the festival dimming into the background as they found a quieter corner near the riverbank. The gentle flow of water seemed to murmur secrets she wasn't yet ready to acknowledge. Look, I know I didn't handle things well, Ryan opened, his eyes darting away briefly before settling on her. I was terrified of commitment, and I hurt you when I walked away. I didn't even give us a real chance. His words hit her like a wave, floodgates opening as she remembered the feelings she fought to bury. You were my everything, and then you just disappeared. After that, moving on felt impossible. Ryan's expression softened. I see that now. I want to make things right, he said, stepping closer, but she held her ground. And what does that mean? She challenged, feeling a swell of anger and fear. Do you really think you can just waltz back into my life and expect me to forget all the pain? I know I can't change the past, he pleaded, his voice thick with emotion. But I've changed. I've been working on myself, and I want to show you that I can be the person you deserve. Change doesn't happen overnight, she countered, a bitter edge creeping back into her voice. It takes time and effort. I'm willing to put in that effort. Can't we at least try? Her heart ached as she considered his words, but now she could hear the faint strains of music from the festival growing louder in her mind. Jake. What about Jake? Just then, she caught a glimpse of Jake at the edge of the clearing, his brow furrowed in concern. In that moment, Sarah felt acutely aware of the choice before her, the two men representing different parts of her life. I need to think, she finally said, feeling overwhelmed. Take your time, Ryan said, an uncharacteristic softness in his voice. As Sarah turned away from him, she faced Jake, who approached cautiously. He didn't say a word, but his presence offered her a sense of grounding. Hey, he said softly, brushing his thumb against her knuckles, you okay? In that simple gesture, an unspoken understanding passed between them. As she hesitated, searching for the right words, the flickering lights danced in the corner of her eyes, and she realized she had a choice to make, one that could define her future. But what if there was a possibility she hadn't imagined yet? What if she could take a chance on the future without the weight of her past? As Sarah looked into Jake's earnest eyes, she felt a spark of hope ignite within her, stronger than the pull of nostalgia. Could she push forward into the unknown? And there, beneath the shimmering stars, uncertainty loomed once again. What would she decide, and who would she choose? The air buzzed with unspoken tension as the night stretched on, opening the door to possibilities she never thought she would have to face. As Sarah faced Jake, she felt like time had stopped. The bustling festival faded, leaving only the quiet, earnest heartbeat of their connection. He looked at her with those deep, steady eyes, as if he could see right through the chaos swirling inside her. I just need a moment, she finally managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. It was all she could do to express the tangled emotions that lay within her, a mix of fear, longing, and uncertainty. Jake stepped closer, his warmth enveloping her. Take all the time you need. I'm here, he reassured her. The sincerity in his voice chased away the chill creeping in from the uncertainty. Watching Ryan stand a distance away, Sarah's heart ached for clarity. How could someone she once loved be so suddenly present again, like a ghost she had finally learned to forget? Yet Jake was real, and his unwavering support felt like a lifeline. Sarah, please, the urgency in Ryan's voice interrupted her thoughts, pulling her back to the present. She turned halfway to face him, her stomach twisting. You have a funny way of showing you care, Ryan, she shot back, confidence creeping into her tone. You walked away when I needed you most. I've spent a lot of time thinking, he replied, his voice cracking slightly. I know it's too late to ask for your forgiveness, but I'm here to prove that I can change. Her chest tightened. Change. How many times had she heard that before? We both know it takes more than just words. You can't just say you've grown and expect me to trust you again. She could feel the tension spiraling, and part of her wanted to hurl her anger at him. Yet another part of her felt drawn to that flickering warmth from the past. Then let me show you, Ryan implored. Let us take it slow. We can start fresh. I miss you, Sarah. Jake stepped in between them, protective. What does that even mean, Ryan? You hurt her. You can't just waltz back into her life. That's not fair. Jake, please. Sarah felt the heat of conflict rising between them. This isn't your decision to make. His gaze softened as he turned to her, searching for the answer that eluded her. I just don't want to see you get hurt again, he said softly. Ryan's eyes narrowed slightly, defensiveness creeping in. You think you're better for her? You barely know her. She felt her pulse quickening. She took a steadying breath, trying to process the intensity of the moment. I know both of you. I know what we had, Ryan, but I'm not the same girl I was back then. I've been rebuilding. Jake has been, she hesitated, glancing at Jake, their shared warmth a stark contrast to Ryan's distance. He has been there for me in ways I didn't know I needed. Silence fell around them. The night air was thick with unspoken words, and Sarah could see her future, forked like the branches of a tree, splitting into two distinct paths. Ryan's face transformed from urgency to a flicker of realization. Sarah, I just want you to be happy. That's the thing, she said, her voice breaking slightly. I don't know what happiness looks like anymore. As she searched Ryan's eyes for the past she could either embrace or abandon, Jake's presence felt more vital than ever. It was not that she wanted to hurt Ryan. It was just that Jake represented everything new. Everything that felt right despite the chaos. Take a minute, think about it, Jake said, moving slightly closer, as if giving her permission to digest the weight of choices laid bare before her. Sarah's mind raced. What if she chose Jake? And what if Ryan was indeed a changed man, deserving a second chance? Would she always wonder? What if she pushed Ryan away? Standing there, caught in her doubts and desires under the vastness of the night sky, Sarah realized the answer wasn't just about choosing between two loves. It was about deciding who she wanted to be, but who could help her uncover that reality? And just as she prepared to express her decision, an unexpected voice interrupted from behind. Sarah, there you are. We need you for the dance. Her mind reeled as she turned. The festival waited, vibrant and alive, beckoning her back into the world of possibilities. It felt like a wake-up call. Wait, she whispered, feeling the gravity of her impending choice settle around her. What would she do? Dance back into the past or step forward into a future yet to be written? The night held its breath, waiting for her answer. The crowd swirled around Sarah like a kaleidoscope of colors and sounds. The music pulsed through her, drowning her in a wave of nostalgia. She glanced back at Ryan, who stood there with an earnest look, the flicker of desperation in his eyes almost breaking her resolve. Then there was Jake, standing beside her, his presence steady, a reminder of what's been growing between them. Come on, Sarah. You can't miss this. A friend yelled, laughter bubbling up like the sparkling cider they had shared earlier. The festival atmosphere buzzed with excitement, a contrast to the heavy air surrounding her. For a moment, she felt frozen. The pull of the dance called to some ancient part of her, the part that craved joy and connection. But Ryan's presence loomed nearby, a reminder of hurt and memories that felt fragile under the weight of time. Then Jake took her hand. The warmth seeped into her, reminding her of the gentle moments they had shared chasing sunsets, sharing secrets under stars. That first kiss. You want to go dance? He asked softly, his voice wrapping around her like a soothing balm. The clarion call of the dance was approaching, and as she met his gaze, something clicked inside her. She saw the willingness in Jake's eyes to walk the road ahead with her, no matter how uncertain. I shouldn't leave Ryan my past like this, she thought. A million thoughts racing through her head. But just then, she noticed something change in Ryan. He straightened, his expression shifting from despair to something else, resolve? Perhaps he could sense her hesitation. You don't have to make a decision now, Sarah, he called out. The weight of his words hung heavy in the air. That's exactly it, she wanted to shout back. I don't want to decide anything right now. In the end, it was Jake's gentle squeeze that dissolved her turmoil. You don't have to choose one of us right now. Choose what feels right. Just for tonight, he urged, his voice steady, a lifeline in a sea of anxiety. She felt the rhythm of the festival beckoning her, a world loaded with possibilities. Slowly, tentatively, Sarah turned toward Jake, her heart pounding in her chest. Okay. Just for tonight, she agreed, and with that, she let him lead her towards the flashing lights. As they merged into the crowd, laughter erupted from the group of friends, laughter that felt contagious. She closed her eyes and lost herself in the music, feeling the melody slipping through her, helping to peel away the scars of the past. Ryan stepped back, watching. The tension rolled away at the sight of her letting go, and a part of Sarah wanted to reach for him. Yet she knew deep down she needed this moment. It felt freeing to lose herself in the music. But within the joy, unease settled alongside laughter. Was this truly a fresh start or merely a distraction? With every beat, joy and confusion danced hand in hand, swirling together like a cyclone. As the song shifted to something slow, she felt Jake pull her close. Their heartbeats synced, and in that intimate space she hesitated. Would tonight change everything? Or leave her even more tangled in doubt? She looked into Jake's eyes, feeling the shared warmth, the promise of something real. This could be the start of everything, she thought. But just as that hope surged, she glimpsed Ryan outside the dancing crowd, a shadow against the glow of the lanterns. A question burned within her. Would the past always haunt her? Or could she truly step into this new beginning? The music slowed. The laughter around her faded into a gentle hum. In that pivotal moment, a decision loomed, and everything hung in the balance. Would she find her truth amidst the chaos, or be left wondering how to mend the fragmented pieces of her heart? And as the last note lingered in the air, she knew she would have to confront the reality waiting just beyond the dance floor. Would she embrace the thrill of the unknown, or would doubt pull her back into the shadows? As the music faded and the last echoes of laughter hung in the air like a sweet perfume, Sarah felt a warm breath on her cheek. Jake's hand rested lightly on her waist, pulling her into a close embrace. Instantly her pulse quickened. But just beyond the twinkling lights and the warm glow of the festival, Ryan lingered in her mind. "Are you okay?" Jake asked softly, his breath brushing against her ear. He seemed to sense the storm swirling within her. She nodded, though her heart wasn't convinced. Everything within her felt torn, one part drawn to this moment with Jake, the other anchored to the unresolved ties with Ryan. Could she really dance away from her past? The music continued to thump around them, urging her to lose herself. But thoughts of Ryan flickered like a faulty light bulb. "Let us step outside for a minute," Jake suggested, sensing her need to breathe. Sarah released a breath she didn't know she was holding, grateful for the escape from the crowd. As they stepped away, the world of pulsating rhythms faded, replaced by the soft whispers of the night air. The festival noise diminished to a dull murmur behind them. They found a quiet spot near a flickering lantern, casting a warm glow that embraced them like a soft blanket. Jake turned to her, his expression earnest and open. "You seem miles away. Talk to me." Her lips parted, but words tangled in her throat. She searched his eyes for strength. "It's just Ryan." The name slipped out, heavy with memories. "I get it," Jake said gently, his thumb brushing against her cheek, grounding her. "You had a lot with him. But you also have a choice now. You don't know how hard this is," she admitted, her voice wavering. "I can't just forget everything we shared. The heartache." The truth hung thick between them, sharp and undeniable. Jake's gaze softened. "I'm not asking you to forget," he said quietly. "I'm just here, wanting you to choose for yourself what you want." Something in his tone cut through her confusion, kindling a flicker of clarity amid the chaos. But with every heartbeat, doubt crept back in. Did she even know what she wanted right now? Was this just a detour from the pain, or the first step towards healing? "And if I choose you?" she whispered, testing the waters of her own desires. His smile was warm, and it lit up his face. "Then we see where this takes us. No pressure, just the chance to explore something real." Their eyes locked as she sought truth in his expression, and for that moment, she felt weightless. Yet the image of Ryan lingered like a shadow. What if letting go of their past meant giving up on something that could have been? Suddenly, laughter erupted from the festival behind them, drawing her back into the scene. The night felt alive, crackling with energy, and she wanted to dive headfirst into it. "Let us go back," she suggested, turning back towards the lights. But just as she took a step, looking over her shoulder at Jake, she noticed Ryan's figure moving across the crowd. He stood alone, hands tucked in pockets, watching her with an intensity that made her heart race, not in fear, but in confusion. "Sarah," Jake's voice pulled her back, but she hesitated, caught between the past calling her name and the future stepping forward. What would she say to Ryan? Did she owe him a conversation? Or should she simply embrace this fleeting moment? The question settled into her thoughts like a boulder, demanding resolution. As she glanced at Jake, his face mirrored her uncertainty. They stood at a crossroads, one that could lead to new beginnings or unresolved pain. "Are you ready?" Jake's soft inquiry broke through her thoughts, grounding her once more. Taking a deep breath, she felt the heaviness in her heart, torn yet hopeful. "I don't know yet," she admitted honestly, "but I think it's time for the truth." And as she moved towards the festival lights, the path stretched out before her, shadowed by lingering questions. Would confronting her past bring clarity or plunge her deeper into uncertainty? The glow of the festival lights enveloped Sarah as she stepped forward, her heart racing like the drums in the distance. Each beat reminded her of the past she felt tethered to. Yet somehow, the idea of stepping into the unknown with Jake was exhilarating. Ryan's figure flickered at the edge of her vision, and the urge to turn and confront him battled with her instinct to flee. What was he thinking? Did he feel the same pit of confusion and regret that twisted in her stomach? Jake's hand found hers, his fingers intertwining with hers, grounding her amid the confusion. "Hey, we don't have to rush," he said, sensing her unease. His warm gaze settled on her, filled with understanding. "Take it one step at a time." Just then, a burst of laughter echoed from a nearby group of friends, their joy palpable in the air. For a brief moment, the bubbling camaraderie surrounding them made her feel lighter. But the laughter faded into the distance, replacing the warmth of the moment with the chill of uncertainty. Jake gently pulled her closer, seemingly drawing her away from the crowd, and for an instant, the world faded to just the two of them. "What do you want, Sarah? Right now, what do you want?" I want her breath caught, a jumble of emotions swirling in her chest. She wanted the safety of familiarity, a comfort in Ryan's laughter, the way he made her feel seen and cherished. But she also craved the thrill of possibility she felt with Jake, the spark that lit up her insides. "I don't know. I just don't know." "Then let us figure it out together." His voice was steady, an anchor in the turbulent sea of her emotions. She nodded, the gesture small but filled with significance. She could feel the world shift slightly on its axis, as if choice lingered just at the edge of her grasp. It wasn't long before they moved away from where Ryan stood, feeling the tension ease a little. The festival lights twinkled brighter, and Sarah let out a shaky laugh, the sound catching her by surprise. Embracing the excitement of the moment, she turned to Jake, her smile faltering at the thought of what lay ahead. "What if I run into him again?" "Then you handle it," Jake offered, his confidence infectious. "You're stronger than you think." His encouragement stirred something deep within her, a mix of determination and fear battling for dominance. She wanted to scream, to cry, to free herself from the weight of decisions that felt too heavy to bear. She suddenly wished for clarity, for a way to disentangle her heart without having to hurt anyone in the process. Suddenly, the music crescendoed, blending with the laughter and cheers of those around them. A group of friends swept by, urging them to join the festivities. Sarah felt that pull, an overwhelming urge to lose herself in the beat of the drums, to dance under the starry sky and let the night breathe life into her spirit. "Come on, let us join them," Jake said, his eyes sparkling with mischief. They engaged in the energy nearby, their bodies moving with abandon. Yet, the shadow of Ryan loomed, the unresolved tension lingering like a ghost between them. As she twirled in the chaos, Sarah felt a flicker of hope, but also the anxiety of unresolved history. Could she really let go? Could she truly move forward with Jake, knowing Ryan was still just a heartbeat away? The night spun around her, the laughter and music blending together into a palpable force that threatened to sweep her off her feet. But just as she let herself get lost in the moment, she caught sight of Ryan again, this time approaching with purpose, the look in his eyes filled with intent. "Sarah," he called, and her heart stopped. Would she choose the past, or take a leap of faith into the future? She took a step towards him, feeling the weight of the world crash down on her shoulders like a heavy thundercloud. What would she say? It was now or never. As she stood suspended between choices, the festival buzzed around her, alive with anticipation. But would this be a moment of reconciliation or a turning point into a new life? "Sarah," his voice trembled, infused with equal parts urgency and vulnerability. It cut through the noise of the festival like a piercing arrow, straight to her heart. The way he said her name felt like a lifeline thrown out to sea, and she was torn between grabbing hold or letting go. The crowd flowed around her, an endless current of laughter and music, while time seemed to freeze. In that moment, Ryan's eyes bore into hers, searching for something that made her pulse quicken. Yet standing beside Jake, she felt the heat radiating from him, a comfortable warmth that both soothed and unsettled her. Would she choose the familiar, or embrace the unknown? "Just hear me out," Ryan continued, his expression softer, more open than she ever remembered. It drew her closer and further, that habitual dance of emotions: betrayal, love, and longing all battling for her attention. "What is it, Ryan?" she managed, her voice steady despite the riot inside her mind. She could feel Jake's presence beside her, solid and reassuring, ready to step in if tensions flared. Ryan took a moment, glancing down as though the earth could offer him answers. "I thought about everything, after you left. The arguments, the hurtful things. I want to fix it." His words hung in the air, heavy with possibilities. "I've made mistakes and I'm sorry." Sarah felt a tightening in her chest. Part of her ached at the prospect of forgiveness, and the chance to reclaim what was lost. The memories, the laughter they shared, all urged her to step back into that past. But the other part of her burned fiercely, reminding her of the exhilaration she felt with Jake, the promise of something fresh and untapped. Jake's grip tightened around her hand, a silent affirmation that his support was unwavering. It was as though he sensed the war being waged inside her. "Sarah," he said gently, cutting in before she could respond to Ryan. "Whatever you decide, I'm here." His eyes held hers, a calm that urged her to look past the immediate storm and to the horizon ahead. She turned back to Ryan. "I need to think," she said at last, the words escaping her lips almost in a whisper. It was the truth, and it was all she could bear to offer him right now. Sacrificing her heart for a past that no longer felt like home was a gamble she was no longer willing to risk. The festival lights twinkled around them, casting soft glows against the darkness. Her heart raced not only with anxiety, but also a thrill she hadn't expected. Perhaps in this pivotal moment, she was ready to embrace the drift of fate, ready to ride the wave of uncertainty that lay ahead. "I'll find you when you're ready," Ryan said, his voice barely audible over the music, but filled with a kind of yearning that made her heart flutter. And just like that, he stepped back into the fray, the bustling crowd swallowing him whole. Jake shifted closer, a question in his eyes, filled with concern. "Are you okay?" Her voice trailed off as she glanced around. The festival still alive, yet everything felt achingly surreal. "I want to be, but I'm so confused." Then, without another word, Jake took her hand and guided her back into the rhythmic sway of the celebration. Each beat of music pulled her closer to him, weaving a new thread of hope through the fabric of her uncertainty. She let go of the fears nagging at her heart, and allowed herself to exist in this moment, just for now. But as they danced, she couldn't shake the heavy weight of the choice ahead. Would she let go of the past completely? Or would Ryan's plea awaken something she thought she had buried? As a single, bright firework exploded overhead, illuminating the night sky, she closed her eyes. The colors were dazzling but fleeting, much like the choices she faced. In this dance between two worlds, she thought of all the moments yet to come. What awaited her at the end of this night? And as the final firework faded in the distance, one question lingered. Which path would she ultimately choose? The lively rhythm of the festival began to pulse around Sarah like a heartbeat, wrapping her in a cocoon of sound and light. Jake's presence, solid and warm beside her, grounded her even as her mind whirled with uncertainty. She could still see Ryan's expression, the intensity, the hope lingering in his eyes. And now, as they swayed to the music, she felt the tug of their shared history pressing against her. "Let us get away from the crowd for a bit," Jake suggested, his voice low, almost conspiratorial. He gave her hand a gentle tug, leading her away from the throng of people. She followed instinctively, letting him guide her further down the lane where twinkling lights danced above. As they stepped away from the chaos, Sarah took a deep breath, trying to shake the turmoil inside her. The music faded slightly, replaced by laughter and distant conversations. With Jake, it felt easier to breathe, like stepping into sunlight after a storm. They reached a quieter corner, decorated with shimmering lanterns hanging from the trees, casting a soft glow on everything around. Jake turned to her, his brow furrowed. "You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to. I can see you're struggling." She hesitated, glancing at the ground, feeling the weight of Jake's concern wrap around her like a warm blanket. Didn't he expect to see Ryan here tonight?" "Not after everything," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. Jake stepped closer, his eyes searching hers. "What do you want, Sarah?" His question hung there, heavy with possibility. For a moment, she felt stripped bare, laid out in front of him. The answer was complicated and messy and laced with yearning. I don't know, she admitted, feeling more vulnerable than ever. Part of me wants to let him back in. But another part of me, it just wants to move on. I get that, Jake said softly. You've been through so much with him. But look at us. Whatever you and Ryan had is gone. It can't just be fixed like that. He gestured between them, emphasizing their connection. What we have here, this feels real. Sarah's heart raced at his words. This felt like validation. A comforting truth she had struggled to accept. It was so easy to slip into the comfort of the past, to daydream about the safety of old flames. But being with Jake was different. It was exhilarating, unfamiliar, and oddly soothing all at once. Then her thoughts turned back to Ryan. What if I regret not giving him a chance? Then you would know. But giving him another chance could also mean closing a door on what's ahead for you, Jake replied, shifting closer, his eyes locking onto hers. It's not about losing something. It's about gaining something too. His words resonated deep within her. Would choosing Jake somehow erase the past? She didn't want to erase anything. She just wanted to understand it all better. In that moment, she felt a flicker of hope, flickering along with the lanterns. Maybe this was the opportunity to find clarity, not just about who she wanted to be with, but who she was meant to become. Just as she opened her mouth to respond, the laughter of a group nearby erupted like a spark, igniting her thoughts. She glanced over, startled, as the colorful crowd continued to swirl like a whirlwind of emotion around her. Her breathing quickened, heart pounding in her ears, caught between two worlds that both felt right and wrong. Jake lifted his hand, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. Whatever you decide, just remember, you're not alone. I'm here, Sarah. His voice was steady, assuring, as if he understood that the weight of her choice could never be shared, but maybe could be supported. As she gazed into his eyes, she wondered if she could truly step forward into this new world, or if the past would pull her back into its depths once more. And as the music faded back in, a distant echo of laughter underscoring her thoughts, a single question pierced through the haze. What if the choice ahead led her to something she had never even considered? The festival lights sparkled against the night sky. And as Sarah stood there with Jake, the swirling emotions inside her felt as vibrant and chaotic as the colors around them. She could feel the weight of a decision pressing against her heart. The echo of Ryan's urgency mixed with the warmth of Jake's support illuminated her path forward. The moment felt like a tipping point, teetering between her past and a brand new future. Sarah, Jake's voice broke through the chaos in her mind, steady and reassuring. Whatever you decide, it's your choice to make. Trust yourself. His words wrapped around her like an embrace. She searched his gaze, feeling the depth of what they shared. It was fresh, it was hopeful, and it felt so very real. I just keep thinking, what if I miss my chance with Ryan? What if he really has changed? Her heart ached with conflicting emotions, the memories of laughter and love mingling with heartbreak and betrayal. Missing a chance with someone isn't worth losing the opportunity to find what's right for you. Especially if your heart tells you something's different, Jake replied, his eyes shining with conviction. You deserve to be happy. Don't be afraid to embrace the unknown. Sarah inhaled deeply, finding a flicker of courage igniting within her. Somehow, she had to find the strength to confront both her past and this new beginning. The festival rang around her like a symphony of laughter, joy, and excitement, but a quiet peace settled around her in Jake's presence. You're right. I can't keep living in what-ifs. Then let us find out what happens, Jake smiled, taking her hand tighter. They started walking back toward the festival, where the fun flowed in a colorful tide. As they approached the crowd, adrenaline bubbled within her. Maybe stepping into the unknown didn't mean jumping blindly. It could mean gently exploring what lay ahead. Yet, at the edge of her vision, Ryan stood watching, an anxious look replacing the calm facade he had worn earlier. As she drew closer, she could feel the air change with tension, the laughter fading slightly as if the universe held its breath. Sarah, Ryan called out, stepping forward, urgency coloring his face. Can we just talk for a minute? Please. Her heart raced at the gravity in his tone, but beside her, Jake stood strong and solid, a beacon of reassurance. You can do this, he whispered, as if sensing the commotion brewing inside her. She nodded in response, the decision crystallizing in her mind. With courage she didn't know she possessed, Sarah faced Ryan. What do you want, Ryan? I want to show you that I've changed. I've made mistakes, and I'm sorry for how I hurt you. He took a breath, his voice steady yet vulnerable. I never meant to lose you. I realize I've been living in fear, and I want to work through this with you. All the old memories flooded back, overwhelming her for a second. The laughter, the sparks, the beautiful moments. But then, she felt Jake's warm hand entwined with hers, grounding her in the present. Ryan, she replied, her voice steady, but her heart raced. I can't just jump back in. I need to protect my heart. I understand, he said, his expression softening. But I mean it when I say I want to show you I can be better. Just give me that chance. Let us take it slow. Taking a deep breath, Sarah contemplated the two paths before her. She could go back to the comfort of the past, or she could lean into discovering what was blossoming with Jake. She was standing at the crossroad of familiarity and possibility, and suddenly, the future felt infinitely open. I need to know what my heart truly wants, and I can't achieve that if I bury myself in the past. Her voice was steady. I need time to understand what I truly want. Ryan nodded, listening, and although his disappointment was palpable, he didn't press her further. I get it. Just know I'll be here always. Jake's grip tightened around her fingers, as if to remind her that she wouldn't face the shifting tides alone. With that, Sarah felt a rush of determination wash over her, embracing the thrill of the unknown alongside the warmth of new beginnings. As she turned away from Ryan, she and Jake carefully stepped into the vibrant crowd of the festival together. The laughter and joy surged around them like an inviting wave, the music crescendoing once more, drawing them back into its enchanting pulse. As they danced beneath the stars, all the uncertainty seemed to slip away, leaving only possibility. For the first time in what felt like years, Sarah felt free, a radiant smile blooming on her face with each beat. With every step, she was weaving together the strands of who she was, allowing love to guide her, not fear. And there, lost in the moment with Jake, she embraced a newfound truth. Life was too short to dwell on what might have been. This journey was just beginning, and it was hers to write. The past couldn't be erased, but it wouldn't define her future. With laughter blending with music, Sarah danced, no longer held back by hesitation, ready to embrace whatever awaited her in the gorgeous tapestry of possibility. A single thought burned brightly in her mind. Everything would be okay. And for the first time in a long time, she believed it. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation.